Alright fellas, this is how my finished left glove looks like, and yeah, this is the trigger finger piece, which is quite tiny, a little minor detail, but I think this is important anyway, because well, this is your trigger finger, and I didn't see anyone else doing this before, so I thought I'll help you out in case you really want to make any details like that. But this is how it looked before. Well, I'm making improvements on new parts, and I really freehanded it. It's really no problem for you to make it. Just measure your finger, your glove, and just make it happen. This is what I'm using for the hexagon. This is this net thing. It's really cheap. It's most commonly used in backpacks. It really costs like $1 or $2 for seriously 1 or 2 meters of this thing, and you can use it in many parts, I think, but I advise you to kind of line this properly, like straight, because you're doing 2 pieces and you want to kind of like match up your left hand with right hand. And right now I'm gluing this with super glue. I like super glue, it's fast and you can't really see it when it's glued. And I would like to say those outlines are the most important ones, because you will be cutting out the rest of this net, and you don't really want to screw this up because it might rip or something. So just mind the outlines. You can skip some of the inner parts, but yeah, this is just most important. I do it anyway. I just glue every piece of it just in case. Then just after the glue dries, just then cut everything else away. And really be careful. Do not cut the foam and do not leave any excess of this net thing, because you want your piece to look very clean. It may take some time, but really just be careful. But yeah, as you've seen, I took really my time because I didn't really want to screw this up. I want to look those pieces to look as sharp as I can and clean. So anyway, right now I'm doing some of those small details. I cut out 7 of those small circles. I just used some pen. There's really no rocket science. You could use something bigger or smaller or anything else. I just didn't have any other tool to cut out those holes, and it was really easy. Those holes are a really small detail, barely noticeable, but after you paint it, it will look much better, I promise you. Alright, and right now I'll be gluing those small circle thingies we just cut out. These are really small, tiny details, barely noticeable, but well, if I'm already taking my time, I want to do it as properly and as detailed as I can, because well, it will all look cool. Well, before I'll be gluing this, I rather want to line everything up. You don't want to screw up with super glue because it will look messy anyway if you can remove this piece without damaging it. And I'm using those tweezers because well, those circles are so tiny that most likely you'll glue it to your hand, to your finger, than to this foam piece. And yeah, you want to have it clean, and no one really likes to have glued fingers together or something to them with super glue. You don't want this. Also, those hexagons, as you can see, they are kind of like your guidelines, so you have everything aligned properly and straight to match up. And yeah, here you can see it a little bit more. detailed. Those circles are more visible under light and shadows. But after you painted it, I promise it will look better. So as you can see, this is how it looks painted. Those seven circles, they are more visible. But yeah, it's nice small detail, I think. It doesn't take much time, and yeah. Sorry, I have no ruler, and I really need to cut some of the piece of this foam. Just have a tiny little line like this. Take your time, make it as good, as sharp as you can, because this will be the outline of this foam piece, and yeah, you want this to look sharp and clean. And right now I'll just glue this on. I'll start gluing it because it's, well, another process. You don't want to rush or anything, just take your time. Especially with smaller foam pieces, I rather always take my time, because I learned, don't ever rush, ever. Last year I really wanted to go to Gamescom, and I was rushing, especially my paint job, and it was nice, but after time I really started to hate it. But I really wanted to get there, and by the way, no, I didn't make it. But I learned, never rush, just take your time. It isn't worth it. You might not get to a con, or you may, but after time you may not be as satisfied with this what you did. I think it's better to take your time and do it properly the first time, and not do it like 2 or 3 times because you got too excited or you wanted to make it. It's really not worth it, but it's just my opinion. But yeah, this is what I meant. This is the outline. And this piece just cut it very, very slowly. Because you don't really want this seam or anything having there. You want to have it as smooth as possible, like it was one piece. As you can see, this is how the finished piece looks like, and I just have to paint it. And yep, my finger was really having a thick layer of this super glue. I plasti dipped. Well, I don't really have a plasti dip, but it was Plastilac. This is kind of like the same product. I used like 3 or 4 layers, and now I'm just painting it. This was a black wash. You don't really have to do it, but I think it adds a little bit more depth. And right now I just mix some white and black together, and I will be doing some details, especially on the outline, to make it pop out. Just slowly paint the outline, and you can use always, you can paint like 2 or 3 layers. It's better to paint 2 or 3 times instead of overdoing it. And right now I'm just using a little bit of on the inside to make it look like a little bit of like a camo, to not have everything in the same color. And yep, this is the part where you have to paint all the hexagon. Just take your time to have everything looking good, sharp. I think it's just better to make it by hand. You could always try some other ways like pressing black paint, but I think this will look sharpest and you won't screw this up. But yeah, right now you can see how much detailed it looks like all the hexagons, they just popped out. Of course, it's a little bit glossy because when it dries, it'll be matte, I promise. And here again, I'm just repainting it again to make it a little bit lighter and the sides to match up, because people will see the sides as well. It'll be on your finger. And the last part, those small circles. I have no idea what they are, but I have seen them and here they were. I've sealed it, I've already painted it, and this is how it looks like finished. I glued it with contact cement, which is permanent. But yeah, I'm really happy how it looks like compared to my first glove, and seriously, I'm very happy and I hope it will help you. But yeah, the movement is great. I just recommend bending your finger a little bit like that when you are gluing it, so you can always bend your finger without any problems.